All right, guys, welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming and Tech Reviews. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the 4090. Okay, so I've had this for about 5 days? I think it's 5 days now. Yeah, I got it on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 5 freaking days with the 4090. So I wanted to, you know, you guys will be seeing some gameplay in the background. Okay, I got Assassin's Creed here, Valhalla, and essentially is what's going on is I got the 9060 XT, the 16 gigabyte GPU running on the left. Then I've got the 4090 running on the right. These are both maxed out 4K ultra settings. And I want you guys to take a look at this because when I was playing this on the 9060 XT, even at 4K maxed out, the gameplay felt smooth. The game was pretty decent. And you know what, I'm getting about an average of, 58 frames a second without doing anything to it. I mean, obviously I could drop it to high, it still looks good, and I could get a decent 4K experience. But over here on the 4090, okay, if you look at the cost of a 4090 being pretty close to around $2,000, even when it was available. I mean, when it first came out, it launched at like $1,600, so obviously the value proposition would have been a little bit better there. But when you look at what you get for $2,000 over a $350 GPU, technically around $400 or so, you can get these about $380 for a 9060 XT. Is what I want you guys to look at is, in my mind, okay, this is my mind, this is the way my little froggy brain thinks, okay? I just want a playable experience. I just want a good experience. I want to be able to play at 4K. I want to be able to play at 1440p. I want to be able to play at 1080p. The bigger thing that I feel in my mind is VRAM. Like, VRAM is very nice to have, and the 4090 has plenty of that, plenty of VRAM, 24 gigs of VRAM. And when I'm sitting there and I'm playing in some of these games, games that, would kind of struggle on, some of these 16 gigabyte cards when you're using like the full feature set maxed out with ray tracing, path tracing, all of that stuff. The 4090 gets the job done. But at the same time, like, what are your other options, at least in NVIDIA, to be able to get anywhere close to being able to max everything out like you can on a 4090. See, that's the biggest thing I love about the 4090, okay? Let me just state this real quick. That is the biggest thing I'm loving about the 4090 so far is I can max everything out and turn on the features and frame generation, and boom, I've got a playable experience at 4K and it looks incredible. So yeah, that is something that, like, if that's something that you're like, okay, I got to have max. Now, on the games that support DLSS 4, perfect solution, absolutely incredible. 4090 obviously will get you there. Next step up is a 5090. But for everything else that doesn't have DLSS 4, well, you know what? You can use DLSS Swapper or NVIDIA freaking Inspector or whatever, and you can get yourself there. But my friends, for everything else, when I look at the value, and this is the reason why I'm doing a 9060 XT versus a 4090 in this video, is because a 9060 XT is a very potent GPU. Now, I've been testing this card, running it at 4K, running it at 1440p. When I did my review for the 9060 XT, I did it completely exclusively on 3440 by 1440p. And what I found was like, wow, this is a really good playable experience. Now, this generation, okay, I mean, it started last generation. We got some frame gen. It felt a little bit, I mean, it was okay. You could use it, but it wasn't like necessarily the best experience. But this generation with RDNA 4 and with Blackwell, frame generation feels better than it's ever has, and it ever will. So when I look at the experience that I get, and I say experience, I don't say performance, because I just think that is very subjective. If you look at the gameplay between Assassin's Creed, you're getting average 130 FPS by the time this video is done, versus like 55 average FPS for, maxed out settings. And so I call it experience, okay? Performance is one thing, like, yes, Does the NVIDIA side feel significantly smoother and better? Absolutely. Does it feel $1,700 better? No, it doesn't feel $1,700 better. It just doesn't. I mean that with all sincerity. Like, look, and if you've got the money to go out there and blow on a 4090, cool, do whatever you gotta do. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I live in constant fear of that freaking 12-volt plug. Like I do. I bought my card technically used. It was brand new, but technically used because I'm not the first buyer and the warranty doesn't transfer. So I'm out. If something happens to that, a pretty good, I would say a pretty good chunk of money. And so I'm like, okay. So yeah, I live in constant fear with that now. I do, but you know, I got a good enough deal to where it was like, okay, I'm willing to take that chance. And yeah, I'm willing to take that chance. If something happened to it, would I buy another one? Probably not. Absolutely not. I would not go out there and buy a new one because it's a couple $1,000s. And to me, with a 5090 being out, it's just not worth it. That's just not worth it. Now, if I could find a 5090 at a decent price, I probably would potentially pick that up. But my heart is set on the ASUS ROG Astral, so probably not anytime soon. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe toward the end of the year, if things go really good and these GPUs start to bring in enough like viewers and stuff like that, then maybe I would consider that. But right now, I just don't feel like I don't feel like the proposition is there, and so that's why I look down to a 60 class card like the 9060 XT. And over the last few months, my friends, I've sat here, I've tested a lot of this stuff out, and I really have played a lot of games on these GPUs across multiple different resolutions. And to me, it's almost like I have more fun at 1080p with a 60 class card than I do trying to play at 4K. Now 4K looks incredible. Like we can't deny that. Looks incredible. Features like FSR4, DLSS4 absolutely make 4K shine even more these days. So my suggestion to you, okay, like the 4090 is awesome. 5090 is probably even better. 5090 would probably blow my socks off because it's got MFG 4X and it has transformer model, and they're more performant transformers on the freaking 5090. So yeah, that card would probably blow my socks off. 4090 is doing a pretty good job at that. Very happy with the performance of the 4090. But when I look across the spectrum, I would probably, if you've got to have 4K, okay? If you've got to have 4K and you want fairly decent frames and you want to be able to crank things up, you know, pretty decently. Like some games you are going to have to lower some settings. I mean, like if you're trying to do like full on path tracing, ray tracing, all of that stuff, yeah, you're going to have to lower your settings. So my recommendations this generation, this is coming from down from like the second highest card, okay? 5070 Ti. I really like that card because I'm addicted to frame generation. Like I can literally say that with a straight face and be like, look guys, I'm kind of addicted to frame generation. You know the types of games I play. I play open world games. I play a lot of story heavy games, stuff like that. Stuff that like I don't need to be competitive, so I can usually get away with using frame gen. And I'm addicted to it. I really am addicted to it. So 5070 Ti, using the features, absolutely incredible at 4K. 9070 XT, absolutely incredible. It doesn't matter which one you pick, honestly, at this point, because I do feel like 9070 XT is a little bit better just due to the fact that like you're usually finding that at a lower price point than the 5070 Ti, and they are so similar that you'd probably be just fine with that. The biggest thing is though, is like, yeah, NVIDIA is a lot more mature when it comes to like the upscaling and stuff like that. AMD is working really hard at that. They're gonna have Redstone later this year. Yeah, I get it. I get the argument, but we're always waiting. I personally don't mind that too much just because of the fact that like, it gives me a reason to go back to games and try them again after the updates. Okay, so I don't mind that. But when it comes to the best value GPU, the most freaking like versatile GPU this generation for me would be the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte. It's an incredible value. You don't got a lot of people out there trying to freaking scalp it or anything like that. You can usually get it slightly above MSRP, and you can get some good freaking models of that 9060 XT. It's got 16 gigs of VRAM. It's pretty damn fast, and FSR4 is freaking amazing. And AMD needs your money. I'm just joking. Yeah, I mean, AMD is an incredible card, and I say that with all the sincerity in my heart. I know a lot of you guys love NVIDIA. I mean, and that's, like, I understand why. Like, I get it, you know? There is a lot of peer pressure, a lot of popular, it's the most popular brand. Like, they own 92% of the freaking market. And if you want your prices for NVIDIA to come down, you're gonna have to prop the other guy up. Whether that's going out and buying yourself a second GPU so you can test it yourself. Look, man, if you can afford to buy a 4090, I'm sure you can get by getting a 9060 XT. Trust me, it's not gonna hurt your feelings for your NVIDIA 4090. Like, there's no way. Like you know that your 4090 is the best, okay? You know that your 5070 Ti is the best. You know that your 4080 is the best. But I'm telling you guys, you need to try AMD because you need to see what they have to offer. You absolutely need to see that for yourself. You don't need me, you don't need any other YouTuber to tell you this. These are things that you can do all on your own. You can get these, you can experience them both, because I feel like this generation, honestly, guys, if you were to get a 5060 Ti, 16 gigabyte, 9060 XT, 16 gigabyte, and swap them out like I'm doing, just pull it out, put it in, to play your favorite games, you know. And then if you get to a point where you're like, all right, I like the way this game plays on my NVIDIA GPU, boom, you play through that game, you don't have any problems, incredible experience, boom, you won. You get to another game and you're like, oh my gosh, it plays incredible on the 9060 XT. Dude, you won again. Like, you're legit getting the best of both worlds for the cost of buying a $1,000 GPU. And yes, these cards do scale pretty well up to 4K. You might have to lower some settings to get a really higher frame rate, but everything that I've played, even Unreal Engine 5 games, seem to do pretty well. They usually top out around 12 gigs of overall system VRAM to play those, and even at performance mode, because, okay, so at 4K, at performance mode on both FSR4 and DLSS4, it still looks damn good at 4K. That's the only reason I even recommend this option for you guys, for a lot of you PC guys out there that kind of just need to reset. You guys kind of need to reboot. You need to start looking at things a little bit differently going forward. And I think the faster that you get into that, the better you're gonna have, the better experience you're gonna have with your gaming and stuff. Me personally, I'm just like all you other guys, okay? I've watched Hardware Unboxed. I've watched Daniel Owens. I've watched all of the great YouTubers out there, and their focus is on performance. My focus is on experience. It's always been experience. And it's not gonna change, my friends. It's always gonna be experience for me, because I can legit play games on a freaking toaster if I needed to, okay? Like, I've been dirt poor. Like, I can play games on like hideous hardware. I can do that just fine and fully enjoy my experience, because there's always going to be something. It doesn't matter what platform, it's always going to be good. So if you look at it from that point of view, my friends, I think you'll be a lot happier. Go out, get yourself a 1080p monitor. Throw on a freaking 60 class card, get really high frame rates. I'm not even joking, guys. When I had Battlefield 6 in there on the 5050 and I was pushing 200 frames a second at low set, I was like, dude, this is incredible. Like, this feels so good. And I should have recorded that footage, but my gosh, man, like, I'm just sitting there and I'm running around and I'm just fully enjoying how smooth and how fluid that game felt. So I know that you can have an incredible experience on some of these lower end cards. So yeah, treat yourself, guys. Get both this generation, man. Play around with both of them. Save yourself some money. Get like a really good feel for what these actual freaking GPUs, or what these experiences actually are. So, all right, my friends, if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. If you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link way at the bottom of my description, or you can just join the YouTube channel, which is absolutely incredible. I would very much appreciate that. So guys, we'll see you in the next one. Have fun.